And a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Palace fans from around the globe. Welcome to another edition of the Red and Blue Review. My name's Ian Noble, and I'll be hosting for the second week running because Nick Philpott is still on his holidays. He promised me he would be back by tonight, but he's not. And with me this evening, as you'll see on screen, I have we've gone for squad rotation tonight for the Red and Blue Review team. Complete change of lineup from last week. So in the place of Ian Lyons, we have Mr. Tim Richards. Good evening, Tim.
Evening, Ian. Evening, everyone.
And replacing Jill Holyoke, we have, for the first time this season, Mitul Patel. Good evening, Mitul.
Evening, all.
And replacing Lucy, we have Theresa. Love it. Theresa, good evening. Oh, we can't hear you, darling. Oh, all that rehearsal we did for the last half an hour. Anyway, Teresa's with us. Theresa is with us. She's on mute.
Yeah, I'm not now.
Oh,
sorry.
You're not on mute.
Evening,
Well
everyone.
Welcome, darling. All right. How are you?
Thank you. I'm all right.
Good. Excellent. Good stuff. We have lots of people joining us on the chat tonight. Teresa, and we didn't do this beforehand, but could you sort of be in charge of the chat tonight if we would come to you and just bring some comments up from people? Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Brilliant. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay, well, of course, we're going to be talking about the Villa victory, the 3 points, the 3 goals at the 3 p.m. kickoff at Selhurst Park yesterday afternoon. What a marvellous occasion it was for everyone inside the stadium. For those watching it on streams and things and watching the highlights afterwards, equally excited, I'm sure. We were hoping to have a special guest with us this evening as well, Kevin Moore. And Kevin is a Hartlepool supporter, and you'll know about the association between the two clubs from last year's FA Cup fourth round tie. And Kevin has organised a charity match between Hartlepool and Palace fans next Sunday. So we were hoping to talk to him, but he's having difficulty getting on at the moment. So maybe we'll come to him a little bit later on. And this is Kevin's Facebook page, Never Say Die. Hartlepool, those of us that remember Palace back in the 70s, not quite as bad as Hartlepool now, I hasten to add. They're third from bottom of League Two, so we wish them
didn't they play Bradford
the rest of the season. And of course, they played at the weekend. Of course, they lost at home to Bradford City, and it was our very own Scott Banks that opened the scoring for the visitors against Hartlepool. So we're going to get straight onto the game, I think, because we've got lots of people joining us in the chat. Do you want to say a few hellos, Teresa, before we get the lineup up? So who's joining us tonight?
Paul Bristow's made it back to Plymouth. Evening, Paul. He's Paul McNamara, Obi, Tom Clark, Andrew Adams. He says, Tim, smile, you're not Elise. Mark Wills, Neil Chatterjee, Rob Cranfield, Kathy Thompson, Brad Campagnac, Andy Stacey, Andy Adams, Stephen Isles so far.
Thank you. And Brad, enjoyable day. Left home at 9 a.m. from Norwich on the train. Could only get the 22:30 coach back. Home at 3 a.m. on Sunday morning. That's dedication for you, mate. Well done for making that effort to see the Mighty Eagles win yesterday afternoon. So, producer guy Nige, can we have the teams up from yesterday, please, mate? Or the Palace team, at least, the starting lineup. And we'll go through the starting lineup. Here we go. So, Guita in goal. Ward, Gahey, correct pronunciation, Gahey. Anderson, Mitchell, Eze, Doucouré, Schlupp, Ayew, your favourite player, Mitul, Edouard and Zaha were the starting 11. When we saw the starting 11 outside the pub at 2 p.m, we thought, pretty unremarkable starting 11. So, Mitul, you were in the Arthur Way, as you always are. Talk us through that first half, first 10 minutes, first of all.
Well, we actually got there a little bit late, so we got there about 6 minutes or 7 minutes in. So I actually missed Watkins, but as we were walking in and I saw we were 1-0 down, step up the goat. By the time I got to my seat, we're level. So sun was shining, the stadium was full. It was just carnival football. So cage football on the big stage. That's Crystal Palace. Lovely football, great ball players, exciting. Did everything right, and just final third action is all we need. So I left happy.
So you're not putting it down to yourself turning up that was the reason Wilf equalised on 7 minutes, no?
No, that's all down to the GOAT himself. He does everything himself. Nothing from me.
So what about the goal then? Talk us through the goal, first of all. Our first goal, Wilf's goal.
Just so, I mean, I think I've seen it in training where he's just basically, they've worked on finishing. And to be honest, he's clinical. He said it in his last 2 interviews that basically he's trying to get the shot off when the keeper isn't set. He did it against Liverpool. And he did it against Alisson, who is impossible to beat one-on-one. That's why Van Dijk stepped off him, because he trusted Alisson. But no, the GOAT steps up and he bangs it away before he'd even set his foot, which is why he couldn't get near it. Did exactly the same yesterday. Has all the time in the world. People like Sterling and Ayew, they'd just fall down. But him, clinical.
I love the way you put Sterling and Ayew in the same bracket there as being unable to replicate what Wilf can do. But yeah, okay, get your point. Theresa, you were in the ground as well.
Yeah.
What was your reaction? Certainly when we went 1-0 down, you thought, oh no, here we go. This is going to be a bad day at the office. Or did you think it's just a blip?
I just thought it was a blip. Actually, having watched the team this season so far, all 3 games, it's not like when we were playing before, where we'd concede a goal and we think, all right, that's it. Here comes, we're going to get absolutely battered. There's a confidence around the ground. There's a confidence with the players. And it's almost as if okay, we're going to go down. Watkins has wound Wilf up. That's it, we'll go up and score.
Yeah, okay. Because Watkins celebrated in front of the homes down. You sit in the homes now.
Yeah.
It's no good upsetting the locals when you go in front of a visiting ground, is it really?
Backside, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it did. Yeah, good. What about you, Tim? You've watched the game back. Thoughts about those first 10 minutes?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me. We are the Paddy the Baddie Pimblett, whatever his name is, from UFC. Where it's almost like we need to get a smack in the face before we suddenly go, all right, we're here for a reason. Let's perform. And it seems a bit like that. But the one thing I noticed that really struck me was a bit like the Liverpool goal and a bit like Will's first goal yesterday. Where did it come from? An opposition attack. Keeper gets the ball, and it's not just the finish, which is world class. And if it was De Bruyne or somewhere like that, we'd still be on Sky Sport, because it's Palace. Don't bother. But it wasn't just the finish; it's the approach play. It's the accuracy. It's the not faffing around. It's boom, boom, boom. And when you got that quality of player that's playing at that level, there aren't going to be many teams that can touch it or stop that final result.
That was Edouard's little flick on, wasn't it, for Wilf for the first game, for the first goal?
And Eze, the calmness to just drop a shoulder, lose 2 of them Liverpool players and play the right ball at the right time, at the right speed. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, Mitul. We can eulogise about that Liverpool goal all night, but we're talking about the Villa game, mate.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's got enough in the Villa game to eulogise about too.
Yeah. What do we think about Edouard then, early doors? Did he do all right in that first half?
Yeah, I'm unconvinced. I just think Mateta puts his body about and defenders actually know they've got someone there, whereas Edouard is just more tricky feet, but I'm just not convinced yet. But he tries. So, I can't decide between Mateta and Odsonne on who should be a striker.
Okay. Tim?
But then, I know, jumping ahead, but where did the penalty come from? It came from a delicious touch from Eduardo and a lovely cross. The goal that was disallowed, the touch he had for that, the way he found the pass in the penalty area, that's world class. He just needs a goal. I think
maybe he needs more belief in himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he got the assist for Wilf's goal. That's the first thing we need to say about Edouard. And Tim, you started talking about the goal that was disallowed. So Tim, talk us through that goal that was disallowed and what your thoughts were about the final decision.
Well, I'll jump ahead to the final decision first, because I think what summed it up for being a ridiculous decision was in the post-match interview that the Sky chap did with Vieira. You know, he's an impartial commentator or interviewer, and he said, it's ruining the game. He was saying that wasn't offside. I mean, there's got to be common sense. I mean, that was literally there's no way that was offside in the spirit of the game. So I think for now, the fact that commentators and interviewers are saying it, I think just shows what a ridiculous decision it was. It was to hear commentators eulogizing about Palace and the way they're playing. I can't remember the last time we've heard that in repeated games. And they were saying it the whole game. It was one touch, neat, intricate, deliberate, world-class football. And that's where that goal that wasn't a goal came from. I mean, it was, again, any other, one of the top 6 clubs doing that. I mean, look at the play here, but again, we all know that.
Yeah. And I think it was Jonathan Pearce on the BBC that led that question to Vieira, saying, come on, he's level, and he's level all day. Nice. Can we get that back, that graphic, please? Because you're right. People are putting in the chat here, and we agree with you totally. Paul Glantz, never a pen, never offside. Yeah, this is not offside. How someone in Stockley Park can sit there and draw the lines there and say this is offside? They're clearly wrong. It's level all day. On Match of the Day, they had a debate about it, shoulders, T-shirt lines and all the rest of it. But that's the rule at the moment. Whether the rule should change is another thing.
In the spirit of the game.
Yeah, I think we'd have all been happier if this goal had stood and the penalty in the second half hadn't been given. But luck evens itself out over the course of a season and often over the course of 90 minutes. And we'll come to the penalty in a little while. But very disappointed to see that goal ruled out. And in the ground, it was crazy, wasn't it? Because the players had gone back to the centre circle. They were lined up to kick off. And then suddenly you heard that music. And you thought, oh, here we go. And it came up on the screen. And you just knew what was going to happen. As soon as that happened, you knew that it was going to be ruled out. And it took a ridiculous amount of time for them to drag the play back for a kick for Aston Villa. Theresa.
I completely agree with all your comments about VAR. I was watching Match of the Day last night. One of the commentators was saying that they should draw the lines from where the feet are.
But that's not the rule. That's not the rule.
Maybe they should change that rule.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'd all agree with that,
But also, why can't we have VAR like they have the TV judges in rugby union? Where they announce you can hear the conversation with the ref. They bring the stuff up on the screen so all the fans can see it, and no one will get bored. Everyone will have an idea of what's going on. It's transparent.
Sure, absolutely. Come to you in a minute, Mitul. Tim.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Theresa. I mean, back in New Zealand, we watched an awful lot of Super Rugby live and also All Black games, and I think from 2014, they changed it so that all the officials and the television match official were all mic'd up. So whenever they stopped playing and they were reviewing something or there was a decision to be made, everyone on TV and in the crowd could see what was going on, could hear the comments. So you may not agree, but you understand why they're doing it. It didn't slow the game down. If anything, it sped the game up because it stopped the complaining from the other players or whatever. So I completely agree. I just think that's shocking that they haven't done that yet. And I think it goes further than that. I think it's a deliberate thing because that would show the bias and that would show the complete nonsense that referees... I mean, how many games do you watch now? And when it comes to a throw-on, do the linesmen put the flag up to indicate which direction before the refs actually give them which direction it goes? It's pointless having linesmen for games now. And it's the same thing.
Well, we managed from the main stand yesterday. I managed to get myself heard. The linesman definitely heard what I was saying. I called him out because there were a couple of times in the first half when he missed Villa offsides. They were off, and he was about 2 or 3 yards behind the play. So I made my feelings known, and most linesmen will ignore you, but this one, with his back to us, was shaking his head sideways. Comments. It wasn't just me. There was a couple of other guys as well. So it was quite amusing that a linesman was listening to what we were saying and shaking his head in denial for missing an offside, which is crazy. Okay, so before we get on to the second half, I want to come to you, Mitul, about this one because there was one other really good chance. In fact, there was more than one other, but I want to talk about this particular chance that Zaha created. He passed the ball across the box to the feet of Jordan Ayew in the penalty area. And he managed to hit the target, but Martinez got down to his left and saved it. So tell us about your thoughts on this one.
I mean, it's a joke. Let's not kid ourselves, right? This is a joke. And anyone who wants to debate why we play him is just accepting failure or mediocrity. And that was the last decade, but you need to come out of this Roy era where actually it matters what you do on the pitch. And again, yesterday, dispossessed the most out of everyone on the pitch. How many actions did he do that was positive? He had one real chance he did actually do correct, where he got it on the right-hand wing. This second half, by the way, where I guarantee you any money in the world, he was pulled into that dressing room and told, what the hell are you doing? Because he didn't make a single tackle. He didn't get near a single player. He didn't do any action right in front of us on the half away.
Okay. That's your view. Interesting. I knew it would be extreme. That's interesting, Mitul. Thank you. Theresa, you're shaking your head there.
Were you at the match, Mitul?
100%. And I was on player watch. I was on player watch.
Mitul, you've had your say for a moment. Let Theresa speak.
He won 75% of corners for us. He worked really hard. He wasn't just up front. He tracked back, and that's why he's in the squad. Patrick Vieira likes his productivity, and so do I. Leave Jordan alone.
Okay, I just look at stats. Sorry,
okay.
They weren't lying.
Let's hear your views in the chat. Do we think that Jordan Ayew had a good game yesterday or not? So I'm interested in your views. I mean, listen. You know, he didn't score that goal. I think he's missing the goal. I think if he gets a goal there, then we all feel a lot better, and he feels a lot better about himself. He does work hard though, Mitul. He works really hard for the side, and I'm with Theresa on that one. I'm not the biggest fan now. I used to defend him a lot more than I do, and it's frustrating watching him sometimes. And I think once Elise's back really fit, then he'll get his place back. Final word to you, though, my friend.
Okay, I hear what everyone's saying, and like someone in front of me who I've never seen in the stands yesterday, obviously was partial to Ayew, and I'm not. So we actually had a good fun tete-a-tete, and he actually agreed with me after the first half because his whole thing was he actually draws fouls and gets loads of fouls. But again, think about it. We don't score from set pieces. We're in the bottom three in the league, so that's pretty useless. Where do you get your fouls? On the halfway line, where it doesn't do anything. All it does is break up play. But we play a possession football. So why do you want to break up play? At the halfway line where you don't get anything.
Thank you, Mitul. I'll stop you there. Paul Bristow said he saw a comment from a Villa fan to say that Ayew would be one hell of a player if he could hit a barn door. So I think we'll draw a line under Jordan Ayew just for now in that first half. So we go in at 1-1 yesterday, guys. And we definitely had the better of the first half. You know, sometimes if you're drawing the game, it feels like you're losing. Sometimes when you're drawing the game, it feels like you're winning. And certainly at half time for me, it felt like we were on the front foot. So Mitul, second half, tell us about that and how we started.
Just really, really positive. Good expected goals, good expected assists. We had possession and we were calm and decorate. I mean, we haven't even seen like 5% of this guy, and the Premiership will be licking their lips by the end of the season. This guy is unreal, and we haven't even seen it yet. Like Liverpool game, he almost assisted to Zaha through, and I don't think anyone noticed. The one where he whipped the ball and he hit the bar where we could have gone 2-1. But again, yesterday, breaks up everything. He started that breakup for the Mateta goal. And whilst he hasn't really progressed with the ball, which is what he did at Lons, I mean, he is the basis for everything. He allows Eze that freedom to just draw them players in, drop his shoulder, and then bang, we're away. Down the side for Zaha, or if we had someone who was decent on the right, bang, there's Elise.
Okay. Tim, Steve Gerrard said in his post-match that he felt it was fairly square at 1-1 after an hour before the penalty was given. Would you agree with him?
I think that's just typical away manager waffle. A bit like the FA Cup game against Everton, where we won 4-0 and they were all lucky games and everything was good. It's just nonsense. They did hit the crossbar. They also had a couple of chances. So, on another day, it could have been a different thing. But no, there was one team that dominated that game yesterday. And I think if Stevie Gerrard was honest with himself and not on the cameras, he would say that Villa got nothing more than they deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitul.
I just forgot as well, we have to talk about Tyrick Mitchell. Like, one-on-one, we were praising him. He was the best in the Premier League last season. But progressively now, the link-up and the patterns of play now, and on that left side, because we've got real footballers on the left, Zaha, Tyrick, Eze on that left, if you look at our playing patterns and the amount of volume of relationships between players, that left side is exploding. And that ball from Tyrick, if that was Trent, people would have been drooling and we've been hearing it for a week. Tyrick Mitchell, hello.
Okay, that was for the third goal. So let's talk about the penalty then, because that was where we went in front. So I think we've got a graphic, Nigel, haven't we? So this is the penalty handball decision. It was Mark Gahey that got up to connect with the corner, I think. And it was Lucas Steen who's handballed it. So he's handballed it, and then it goes on to the keeper, and the keeper makes a save. So is this a penalty? Is it handball, guys?
Yes, but maybe a bit harsh. But, evens itself out for the lack of the goal that Schluppy should have had. So, fair play. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think, VAR result 1-1 because, we said already, the goal in the first half could and should have stood. I think that's really harsh. I think if that's against us, we are screaming and saying that's never a penalty in a million years, So I think they've got a point there. But we have the balance of the play. We have the possession, as you say. The XG was in our favour and all the rest of it. So Wilf's penalty. Should Wilf be on pens, Theresa?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, disagree.
Hang on, let Theresa speak. I'll come to you, Tim. You're saying no, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, why did you say that?
You should.
Mateta, if he had been on the pitch, put a striker on. Just let one of the strikers do it. Zaha has missed
a couple now, hasn't he?
He's missed two, by the way.
Yeah, he missed Norwich away and he missed that one. There might be another one going back further in time. Mitul, should Zaha be on pens?
Just a couple of things on that. Let a striker. Well, Wilf is our striker. He's the top goal scorer for the last 10 years. So no one's put away more goals than him. 62 in the Premier League. That puts him on par with Pires, Yaya Toure, and let me think. Oh, David Beckham. So that man knows how to score goals. Plus, yesterday's pen was actually an excellent penalty. The save was incredible if you look at the speed and the strength of his hand to stop that. But then composure. GOAT goal. Sets us off, we win.
But he always puts it down the middle. He
put it to the left, the keeper's right, didn't he?
Pens is a lottery, and that man has got balls, so he should step up and he should take it.
Now, Tim, okay. Let's come to Tim because you're shaking your head, Tim.
You're all missing it completely. You never heard of reverse psychology. The only person that should be taking penalties is Ayew. because the keeper will be like, so much.
Please, because then I get to gun in.
Saying, but no, to my mind, Zaha takes them. I mean, that was a brilliant save yesterday. The Norwich
unbelievable.
Hang on, hang on.
The Norwich one, yeah, fair enough. That was whatever. But the other penalties he's taken, including the pre-season ones, pretty rock solid, and he wants it. And to my mind, it shows his evolution or how he's getting better. He wants to take them. He wants to score. And all the time he's in that mindset, you let him do it.
Yeah, and Paul Bristow says in the chat that Wilf has only missed 4 penalties ever in the whole of his career, and 2 of those he put in the rebound. So that's not a bad record, is it? That's pretty good. And it was great to see. You're right, Mitul. It was a good penalty. It was a good save, but he retained his composure. And I love the banter with him, because did you see at the end when he went back, he actually shook his hand, sort of say, "Well done, mate." And he is a top goalkeeper, Martinez.
He's becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're 2-1 up, guys. And things are looking pretty good. We'll make a few changes. Overall, what do we think of the Vieira substitutions yesterday? Tim, come to you first.
I think it's just yet another example of how quickly Vieira is improving as a manager and how he is molding us into an extremely professional and difficult team to play. And, as I said, when I spoke to that Liverpool guy the other day on the radio, when he said, Palace should have gone for it against Liverpool. No, you're leading the game. You want the points. You don't want to go ahead, try and score a 4, and all of a sudden you're 3-2, and then they break and get an equaliser. So, no, I thought the substitutions he made were at the right time. They were the right players for the right seasons. And again, as we said before, the difference in Luca this year, I know he's only coming on as a substitute, but rock solid now. You look at him, you come on, he's like, before last season, you're like, oh, God, here we go. But no, rock solid. So again, it's just one of the other pieces of the jigsaw that Vieira is putting in place to project us onto the next level.
Okay, we'll come to the defensive substitutions in a minute, but let's just talk through the third goal. Mitul, you've started to do that already. So, now Edouard is off the pitch. Mateta is on the pitch. The ball is breaking down the left-hand side. It's Mitchell, it's Zaha. Where do we go from there?
It's just, honestly, it felt like it was Barcelona-type football at that stage. The destroyer breaks it up, passes it on, it comes out left, goes to him, and then that little just nonchalant, cheeky flick with the outside of your boot. I mean, that only goats do that, right? But then Tyrick still is progressive, he's running. And then I heard, which now makes sense, in training, Mateta's been telling him, give me it at the front at the front post. Just whip it in front post. I'm going to be there. Mm. And that was what Mitchell said. His thought process was at that point. But the delivery, like on a sixpence. And because Mateta is that aggressive, sort of brash, I'm going to get in there. That's why he was there first. The desire. And
absolutely.
Bang, the corner flag business. So it was just beautiful all the way around. It was everything I think Vieira teaches them in training.
Brilliant.
Executed at 100%.
Yeah.
And let me just say, down the left side, because that's the players who can do it. It stops on the right because of one player.
Okay, we'll come. Well, let's leave that. We've done that already. But you're right. Great analysis of the left-hand side and the combination. And do you know what? I was thinking, we've said already about, you said if that's Trent, that's eulogised. If that's Cancelo and Haaland is in the middle, everyone's eulogising forever, aren't they? But both the cross and the execution, the finish were absolutely top draw. 3-1, sort of game over. Still quite a lot of time to play. They did come at us a little bit, did Villa towards the end of the game, but 3-1. Vieira then brings on his defensive substitutes. He brings on Hughes and he brings on Luka Milivojevic, and you think, the Curry's going to go off again. But no, he brings off attacking players. And how many defensive players did we have on for the last 10 minutes? About 8 or something, didn't we? Which isn't bad, I suppose, if you're defending a 3-1 lead.
It's
I mean,
the
Hughes was just like prime Messi without a finish yesterday. He just cut himself in the box and like just found like chances out of it. Was just, I mean, we were just floating at that stage. If I remember us in the stands, it was just party football.
It was, and if that's to another player, a forward player, it's probably 4-1, isn't it? But he's got in the right position, but he just didn't have the final execution. But you're right, he was great, Stephen Isles. Thank you. We agree with you there, and I think everyone played their part. Even Jordan who played his part yesterday, and Mitul, you are outvoted on that one, my friend. So good analysis, good 3 points, everyone. I said after the Liverpool point at Anfield, it's only a good point if we beat the Villa, and we managed to do that with some degree of comfort in the end. It's nice to win by more than one goal, so you're not, chewing your fingernails too much during that 5 minutes of stoppage time that's added on at the end of the game. Okay, here are the final stats. So fairly even on possession. Felt like we had a bit more than 51%, but there we go.
I felt that.
Yeah, shots on target, 9 to us, 5 to them. Shots off target fairly equal. We have 4 corners. Passes completed, just a few more. We shaded it, didn't we, really, in those areas? And so fairly even, I think, on the stats. And that's what you'd expect with a club like Aston Villa coming to Palace. But if we went there, we'd think the same. Yeah, they're a team that we expect to be around about us at the end of the Premier League campaign, don't we, Villa? They're the kind of club that we would hope to finish above, but if they finished above us, that might be just one of those things. Here's the league table. We're 9th in the Premier League. I often say don't look at the league table until 10 games in, but, when you're doing okay, it's not so bad. But I don't like to see who's in 5th position. Get rid of that, Nigel, off the screen. That's horrible. Don't want to look at Brighton being above us in the Premier League table. Let's not put it up again until we're above them. So we shall see. So, Patrick Vieira, I'm really pleased, delighted. We had a really good performance today. We remained calm, determined, and competed well. Theresa, are you keeping an eye on the chat? Anything in the chat that we should be talking about? Any comments from anyone you want to draw attention to?
It was brought up. I'm just trying to find it. I think it was Paul Holden. Question of the panel. In our opening game, the 8 p.m. Friday attendance was 25,000, but yesterday it was only 22,000. Do you think it was down to the train strikes or the ticketing difficulties that people might have been having? That was asked to the panel.
Okay, so who wants to take it first then? Who wants to give a response to that? Why was the attendance 3,000 down on the opening day?
I must admit, I think it was the trains.
Yeah, train strikes played a part, didn't they? I know of people that didn't go yesterday because they couldn't get there. People from the Midlands.
Holidays as well. Like a few of my mates have missed it because they're on summer holidays with their kids. So maybe it could be that.
And all this stuff about not being able to transfer your ticket. The fact is you can do it. Mean that some people don't like to risk it. And they didn't want to, it'd be awful, wouldn't it, really, if you gave your ticket to someone that couldn't get in. Fergus, my mate Fergus, says summer holidays, train strikes, and incompetent ticketing system. Certainly I had people around me that got in late to the game because they had to queue up and get paper tickets or e-tickets printed because their season ticket wasn't working yesterday, which is crazy. Second game of the season. Worked okay for the Arsenal game, but didn't work yesterday. So they had to queue up at the ticket office, get another ticket so they could get in, miss the first 10 minutes, miss the first 2 goals. So I know people that did that yesterday. So great shame, really.
Another question being asked in the chat, Stephen Isles. Did you know about Plange and O'Brien going to Belgium on loan?
Yeah, only because Tom Samuel told me in a group chat. But it looks like those 2 players are going out to Belgium on loan in the 2nd division in Belgium, I think it is. And I think John Textor has a stake in that club. So there's a link there. But look, if they're going to play some football at a higher level than they would do in our under-21s, then that's good for their development. So that's a sort of brings me on nicely, really, Theresa. Thank you for just an update on our loan players. So we're going to try and do this most weeks. Malachi Ballatang, he started for Scottish Championship club Queen's Park against Arbroath, and he stayed on the pitch for the entire match. Was booked though. Jezrag Saki, he started for Charlton against Cambridge United. He was subbed off on the 62nd minute. Scott Banks, we've already mentioned, subbed off at Hartlepool but scored their opening goal. And Remy Matthews, he played for St Johnstone against Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership and conceded just a single goal in their 1-0 defeat. And then Reece Hannam, he is at Bromley, and he scored the only goal of the game in a 1-0 win and was subbed off and was also booked. So he had an eventful afternoon. It's good to keep in touch and see what these lads are doing at other clubs. It's all part of their development as Crystal Palace players, of course. So, I don't know if you know, but the women play today. Crystal Palace women. Do we know how they got on, guys?
I think they won.
1-0, wasn't it?
They did. They won 1-0. And they won against the City Lionesses, I think they're called, or something like that. I've got it here somewhere. Crystal Palace women scored the only goal of the match to win their opening day fixture against London City Lionesses. Presumably that's Millwall, is it? And this is them in the dressing room. Check that out. It took a super strike from Chloe Arthur. It was followed up by Isabella Sibley to put the ball in the net. Full-time, 1-0 to the Palace. So well done to you, girls, for your opening day win.
Fourth in the table.
And then the under-21s, they played Fulham on Friday afternoon. They were away. They were 2-0 down at half-time. And then I tuned in to watch the second half, and they drew 2-2 and could have won it. So when you think that those players, this is a squad now without the likes of JRS and Scott Banks and others, and some great strength in depth there for
great start to the season.
Absolutely. And then the under-18s, they beat Villa 4-0 as well, apparently, over the weekend. So all in all, very good day for Crystal Palace Football Club at all levels around the club. Okay, Nigel, I don't suppose Kevin Moore's around, is he? Do we know? Are you able to tell us? He's producer guy, Nigel.
Hi. Unfortunately, Kevin has dropped off.
Okay. Well, look, Nigel, you stay with us.
Connection problems.
You stay with us, Nigel, because you know about this. You live up in the northeast of England.
Yeah.
And you've been involved a little bit from a Palace end on this charity game. So tell us about it. What's happening?
Well, it's next Sunday afternoon. We've got the Hartlepool United fans versus Crystal Palace fans charity match. It's for the Gemma Lee, who we all know was the manager's wife. And we had the Just Giving page for her. And Crystal Palace fans donated over, I believe it was £60,000 in about 48 hours, the weekend of the FA Cup match. And Kevin has kept in touch with some Palace fans. He quite often posts on Grant's page, so you do see him on there. I think he goes under the name of Kevin HUFC Moore. So if you see him on social media, give him a hi. But next weekend, we've got the match, and it's going to take place at it's a sports arena called Greyfields, and it's just on the edge of Hartlepool, and the match is kicking off at 3 p.m. And I say, if anybody fancies a weekend in the north, go to the City match on the weekend and sort of pop up to the Hartlepool for the Sunday. It is a bank holiday weekend, so not a lot else to do, is there? And if you're going, that's the postcode you need to put in your sat. TS24 8PJ. I say I'll be going. My lady wife's coming with me. I've got a couple of Palace memorabilia that I'm going to take and donate as prizes for the raffle. And I believe the club have donated quite a few prizes as well for the raffle.
Fabulous stuff.
But there will be a Just Giving page. Well, it's the same Just Giving page that we had previously. So I'll put that on the banner at the bottom in a minute.
Okay, mate.
People can centre that.
Okay, Nigel, thanks very much for popping on to tell us about that. So brilliant
You're
stuff,
welcome.
matey. Thank you. And that's of course because we played Hartlepool in the FA Cup last year, fourth round at Sellers Park, if you remember it. Before the game, it was Palace, I think, said they were going to give £1,000 to this. The club said they were going to give £1,000. They put it on social media, and before we knew it, it snowballed into this massive wave of giving to Gemma Lee for a treatment. Sadly, Graham Lee's left the club, I think by mutual consent. They weren't doing very well, but the fans are still behind him and his wife's treatment, which is lovely. And let's hope that the charity match is a fun occasion for everyone, and that they raise a lot of money towards the treatment. So well done to everyone involved in that. Theresa, you had your hand up. Were you about to say something?
I was just about to say Palace fans are actually getting really good positive press at the moment, aren't we? We got everything that was done with Hartlepool, and I don't know if you guys saw the story about I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, Panathinaikos, or their football club.
Panathinaikos?
Panathinaikos.
What, the Greek team?
Oh, is it Greek? Yeah. That the Palace fans, loads of Palace fans have bought season tickets and kept it out of going bankrupt.
Okay, yep, fair enough. Yeah, did see that. Yeah, excellent. There we go. So if you can't get to next week's match and you can donate, there's the Just Giving page. justgiving.com/crowdfunding/warrior GL365. There's the address there for you. Good stuff. Okay, so thanks, Nigel. Thanks to everyone involved in that charity game next week. So we've this week we've had the second episode of Football Dreams, the Academy. Last week I asked the panel what they thought. They threw me under the proverbial bus because none of them watched it. But you guys are different. You've seen it. So what are your thoughts? Let's come to Theresa first. Ladies first.
I'm literally almost in bits every week watching it. I so want all of them to get signed, but this time it was Billy. There he is. Oh, bless him. For those of you that didn't see him, he was lucky enough to get a contract, and his father and him were both Palace fans. His father unfortunately died, and I was literally in bits watching it. I was just like so delighted he got a contract.
Mitul.
Yeah, it's true. That story, I really, really followed that one. And the story he gave of his dad as well was really endearing, where he got a trial, but he just didn't turn up. And his son was like, he just didn't turn up. And he was like, well, so I'm really proud that I have. And it's just it's a really heartwarming thing to watch, but it's really tough because you see how their dreams are just in hands of someone else, and some are shattered and some make it through. And it's just wow, that pressure at that age.
Yeah, and it was Toby, wasn't it, that didn't get a deal on the under-16 show on Thursday. He went off to Aldershot in the end. So he's still playing in the academy, but not at the same kind of level.
Even look at the players in our first team. Look at Eze. He had a lot of setbacks, and now we're about to watch the explosion of a superstar this year, So it just shows that even when they do get the knockbacks, they can still come through and be, cream of the crop.
Yep, absolutely. Very good. Tim, did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I think the pleasing thing for me was, and again, a cynic could say, oh, it's for TV. But the thing that was nice to see was that the academy staff, you can obviously see how much they do actually care about the boys as well. And it's not just money making, or it's not just cutthroat for cutthroat's sake. And the fact that they do a lot of stuff for the boys that don't get contracts. It's not just a case of, no, see ya. It's obviously they put the time in for those players. And it's what life is like. You know, you don't always get what you want. You don't always get your first dream. I think it's a good show. I think it's good. I think it's good to see.
Yeah, good. Mitul.
Yeah, that just reminded me as you were saying that. I swear last season I read something about we are the first club to have installed an aftercare program for players. So the ones that do fail, or the ones that after they retire, they kind of get lost and fall into, you know, gambling and drink. And I think we have an official aftercare program that is leading the way for, you know, other big clubs and stuff like that in terms of mental health and caring about the players that either haven't made it or, you know, struggling and blah, blah, blah. So again, just another thing in our cap about we are not a money-making machine. We are a community club that are doing it the right way. We're investing in a whole of the youth and the talent in South London, where we know, I think it's something like, I don't know what the percentage was, 27% of Premiership players come from our area. We're just the best club to be. Let's get it right.
Yeah, you know, you can't argue with the fact that the Category 1 Academy is a feather in our cap. There are too many good players that have from South London that have gone to the Chelseas and the Arsenals in recent years because our academy hadn't been up to scratch. Now it is. So the future generation should come through the Palace Academy, the best players in South London. And I think we're seeing it on the documentary. And it is, for me, it's great viewing. You know, it's a bit of a tearjerker at times when they don't quite make it. How supportive the parents are. They have to almost give up everything else, don't they, to make sure that their son, in this case, is giving everything to make the grade as a professional footballer. Yeah, good stuff. We'll return to that, I'm sure, in future shows as well. So really good. Someone's put in the chat, are we going to talk about Zaha? You know, is he going to stay? Is there going to be hopefully we're going to renew his contract? We hadn't planned to do that tonight, but we can have a quick word about it, of course. You know, there's always speculation about Wilf. I'll come to you in a minute, Tim. There's always speculation about Wilf wanting away in a window. I think we've had was there Nigel, have you got a quote there from Wilf? Did I see earlier that we didn't use before? Or was that from Eze? There was a Wilf one as well, if you could have a look for that, Nigel. So, Theresa, I'll come to you in a minute. I'll come to Tim first, if I may.
Yeah, I a few weeks ago, I wouldn't have been surprised to see Wilf go. But the performances he's putting in now, I'd say probably the best he's played for. But I think he's playing now the best as a team player, not just him as an individual that we've ever seen. And if you look at the way he's playing on the pitch, the way he's interacting with the team, which is something else I want to take on later, but even the comments when he's interviewed about how much this team can do, how well they're playing, I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he's finally at a Palace team, a team of his heart, playing the football he's been wanting to play for years but hasn't been able to, under a manager who he respects and he knows respects him, with players who are probably of his technical ability. Why would he go and become a bench warmer at another club?
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll go. I think he'll stay.
Okay, Tim, thank you. Theresa.
Patrick Vieira was quoted yesterday as saying, Wilf has shown no inclination to want to leave the club at all.
Yes.
And to be quite honest, I think if anyone goes, it will be Eze that will be approached before Wilf.
Interesting. Mark Callahan's just said, I think Wilf can see this is the first time in a few seasons he's surrounded by some real talent. Or sign a new deal then and stop the rumours, Andrew Adams says. Well, you know, I'm sure that the Diggy and the people behind the scenes and Steve Parish and Patrick Vieira will be having the right words in Wilf's ear. And we don't get to hear everything.
Up like above Tasty Jerk. Just do it now, basically.
Okay. I hope you're wrong, Daniel. I get the impression his performance is a farewell gesture So I hope that's not the case, of course. Anyway, okay, so we've got a few minutes left. This Tuesday, we go to Oxford United in the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. When the draw was made, I thought, what a great tie, because it's a new ground for me. I don't think I've been there to watch Palace. I went to the old ground, but not the new one, Kassam Stadium. And it's always good to tick a new ground off. And it's always good to play a team from a lower league. I said last week that we've been to the semi-final 4 times and we've lost 4 times. I said last week that we have been knocked out in the second round in the last 3 seasons. So it'd be good to go one better this year. But I'm really interested in what the team is going to be. We've talked already this evening about the strength in depth of our squad, the ability we've got in cover. So I'll be interested in the panel's views on who's going to start against Oxford. And feel free to join in the chat. Who's going to start in goal, first of all? Pretty easy one, this, I think. Yeah, so who's going to start in goal, Mitul?
It's definitely got to be Sam, isn't it? I mean, there's no... I think that's an absolute given.
Yeah, I think we'll all agree on that one. There's probably anything we're going to agree on with this, but we'll see. There we go. Okay. So what about the back 4? Who's going to play right back and who's going to play left back?
So I think Klein goes in there only because Wardy played this week in the league. So I think he'll probably just chuck Klein in there, right? I mean, I guess, hang on, we should really decide. Is it going to be a 4-3-3 we're going to play?
4-4-2.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, if we're doing it as a collective, I reckon we play a 4-3-3 at Oxford.
Okay.
And I would go Klein.
4-3-3 written down. Yep. Okay.
Klein, Richards, Balmer, Adam Romola's gone to Coventry, hasn't he now? So, all right, Tyrick, I'll put in there, I guess, for my back 4.
So who else did you say centre back?
Richards.
Yeah, I've got him.
And Kofi Balmer.
Oh, right. Interesting. Okay. Is Tompkins injured?
Probably not. I mean, I think Oxford is purely a luxury game. So it's like, the way I look at it, I think he's going to play all of the kind of side players, like the ones they got to play in Australia and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So we sort of got back 4. Kleiny, and I agree. I don't think we've got a natural cover at left back. I think Mitchell is going to have to play there. Richards and potentially James Tompkins, I think, for me, if he's fit. Someone in the chat might tell us whether he's injured. Stephen Earle says he's injured, so that's him out. So does Joan. So it'll be interesting to see who else he plays. If he has to play one of the 2 centre-backs, I think he plays... I'm not sure.
I'd say Gay. Play Gay.
Yeah. Okay. What about midfield, Theresa? Who's going to play in the midfield?
Oh, don't know.
Yeah, it's quite an easy one. All right, I'll come to Tim. Tim, who's going to play in the midfield?
No, I would put on... No, in reality, I want to put on some of our youth players. I agree with some of the chat. Go for some of our youth. I want a mix of experience and youth in midfield.
So you don't think Milivojevic and Hughes will start?
Yeah.
Luca, Hughes.
Yeah. What about Riedeveld?
Yeah, he'll play.
Gyro? Yeah, why not? Give him a run
Okay,
out.
so my midfield would be Milivojevic, Hughes and Riedeveld, I think. What about up top, Tim?
I'd give Elise a start. He's come on for a couple of subs performances.
Yeah, I think he'll get
fit. He needs games. We need to get him back into it.
But
and it's still a cup game. You know, yes, it's only the League Cup. It's the second round, but then it becomes a third round. And football's all about momentum. It's all about confidence. And the more games you win, whatever games they are, the more confidence you have. The more confidence you have, the more you play like we did against Villa yesterday. So, yeah, definitely some of the younger ones, some of the players that haven't played that much, but still a strong team. And you've still got supporters paying money and going to these games to watch their team. And they want to see their team win. So, I still think a strong team out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 20 quid.
There's part of me that says put Edouard up, start Edouard up front.
Yeah, definitely.
Get him scoring a goal, open that cork.
Bowie.
I was about to say Malcolm will play.
Yeah,
Malcolm is the guy why I hate IU, right? Because Elise is that player who should play where IU is, and Malcolm is the backup. And in Australia, he tore United to bits. Malacia and Fred, he left them for dead. This kid at 18 years old is fearless, and his feet are like joke. The under-21s friendly he played against Brighton. I'm telling every Palace fan now, go watch that game. He ripped them to shreds. He did stuff in that box I ain't never seen.
It wasn't a friendly. That was a league game.
Oh, was it a league game? Oh, well, he tore them. Well, so I'll rephrase that. He ripped them apart.
Yeah, you can't say what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so my only concern about Eboué and Elise starting in the same side, they're both playing the same position. So it'd be interested to see whether he plays Michael Elise in a central role, maybe, the false nine.
Kimani Gordon, maybe give him a little step up. Rob Street, maybe give him a step up. It's Oxford. That's the type of time we can give these kids minutes that matter. Yeah.
I must confess, I've written this down here. It's on my bit of paper, Paul Holden. Play Mateta and Edouard up front together, test that out. I like that.
Yeah,
very much indeed.
That's not a bad plan, really. So, to give them a bit of confidence, really.
I mean, we've got more strength in depth. It's interesting when you do this exercise. We've got more strength in depth in the midfield and up top than we have at the back.
Yeah.
Don't
Which
forget
is
we're missing Ferguson.
We lost Levi Colwill to Brighton.
Yeah,
that would have been a superstar signing.
Yeah, I could. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking actually we need another defender. We need someone else that can play in the first team. They might not be first choice, but someone else that can come in and play in a defensive role. So it'd be really interesting to see what team starts at Oxford on Tuesday night, and on the show next week we'll talk about that game as well as the City game, which is next weekend. So let's look at predictions. We've got 2 games to predict. I don't know. One of the panel said 3-1 yesterday. I can't remember who it was. Nigel might be able to remind me who it was. But someone said 3-1. I said 2-0. So I got the margin right. I got the score wrong. And so Oxford United, first of all, let's come to you, Tim, first. What's the score going to be against Oxford?
3-0.
3-0. Okay. Theresa?
4-1.
4-1. Mitul?
5-0.
5-0. Yeah, I'm gonna go for 5-1.
Sorry, I was laughing my head off there for a minute. So Andrew Adams has said Mitul is having a memory issue tonight, but can he just quickly type what he means by that?
Memories. I think it's because you keep holding your head. And maybe it's because we start saying Jono had a good game.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've got a headache.
Oh, no.
Too many times in the night, that word.
So, lots of 2-0 Oxford, someone said. 2-0, 3-0 to Oxford, George has said. Mark Callaghan, 2-0. Paul Holden, 6-1 to Palace.
Yes, Paul.
2-0 win for Oxford. And a loss against Man City. 2-0 win for us against Oxford. Not 2-0 win for Oxford. So a lot of people are saying that we're going to... Well, I don't think anyone said that we're going to lose to Oxford. Be interesting to see what happens, of course. So panel said 3-0, 4-1, 5-0 and 5-1. What about against Manchester City at the Etihad? We have a brilliant recent record at the Etihad. We won there last season. We drew 2-2 the year before that. We won 3-2 the year before that. My life, they'll be quaking in their boots looking at next fixture. They haven't managed to win today. They look at the next fixture. It's Crystal Palace. Oh, my life. So what's the result going to be at the Etihad next weekend? Theresa, you're up first.
Palace to win 2-1.
Yes, Theresa. 2-1. I'm going to win. I'm doing that.
You're going 2-1 as well?
Only if IU is not on the pitch.
No, caveats are not allowed, mate, on this show.
No, they have to be. If Elise plays, we win.
Tim, what's the score going to be at the Etihad, matey?
Well, I think IU's going to start in goal next week. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go 3-1 City.
3-1 City, okay.
It would be no disgrace if that happened, by the way.
It all depends how well we play. But listen, you know, we can prove we can play against the big clubs away from home. We did it last weekend on Monday night against Liverpool. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Be very happy with a point up there. I'll be very happy to get there because there's more disruption on the trains next Saturday. So I'm hoping to make it on the train. We shall see. Okay. An hour goes quickly in your company, guys. Always does. Always a pleasure. We are back next Sunday evening at 8 p.m. when I hope Mr. Philpott is back from his holidays. We haven't selected the lineup for next week. It's a bit like that on this show at the moment. You know, it's from one week to the next. But I want to thank Tim, Mitul, and Theresa for your contributions tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching the Red and Blue Review. And we'll see you again next time.
Andrew Adams, you're worse than my mates.